Hello, welcome back. Let's get straight on with this. The Natalie Portman Miss Dior advert here. We got to this part here, which talk about the composition of the shot itself. So the rule of thirds, if you remember, is where you split the page into three, and we try to work out where the positioning of the individual is and what the significance of that is. So we can see Natalie Portman here taking the right hand side of the shot, and also if you look at the size of the bottle here, it suggests that Natalie Portman is only as important as the brand itself. So the size of the bottle, which is in the foreground, it's big and it's bold, and Natalie Portman has been shifted onto the right hand side. It suggests that the brand and the bottle is as important as the endorsement itself. So she's only as important as the product which she is representing here. Okay, next, there's anchorage text here, the new Eau de Parfum, and you'll see that in many adverts for fragrances. The new suggests if you get it, you're part of an exclusive range of people who are brand new. They're unique to finding this particular item. It's new, it's exclusive, and you could have it yourself. And finally, let's have a look at the color palette then. Well, we have these sort of pastel colors, the grays and the pinks and the greens here. So it's certainly soft, it's certainly pastel. There's a suggestion of inherent femininity here, and the color palette is representative of that femininity. So we've spoken about quite a lot, not just the words here, but also the way that this is being composed. I mentioned in the last video, this print advert is part of a wider above the line campaign by Dior, and there's a TV advert to go on with this, to accompany the print advert. Go onto YouTube and type in, please, Miss Dior, the new Eau de Parfum, or Natalie Portman, Miss Dior, and have a look at this short 45-second advert. And you'll hopefully find the intertextual references, certainly with the reference to "and what would you do for love?" And that reference is important because it links these two products from the print to the moving image advert.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I love you. 1, 2, 3.
Anyway, you can watch that at your leisure. But even here, look at the color palette here. Look at even the room that they're in. It's quite clearly a similar setting here. So that's where the link comes between the moving image and the print advert. So the reason why I've chosen this advert to analyze is because fragrances are a particularly difficult product to sell. Ultimately, you want to buy something that makes you smell good, but if you just have a description of what this smells like, no one's going to buy it. So you have to instead sell an ideal. And in this case, Dior is trying to sell the ideal of a life like Natalie Portman, an A-list celebrity with everything in her life, apart from possibly a perfect relationship. And what would you do for love? And that rhetorical question is then asking you to consider how far you would go yourself to find perfection. And maybe to get a little bit closer to that perfection, you would choose this new fragrance by Dior, Miss Dior. It's an interesting campaign, and certainly one that's full of conventions for the fragrance industry. So if that is conventional, you'll recognize that this advert for the Old Spice campaign is pretty unconventional. Even from looking at it for a few seconds now, you'll see that it subverts most of the stereotypes and the conventions that we have discussed in this particular advert. But I'm not going to analyze this advert yet, and I don't want you to either. What I want you to do is choose another print fragrance advert of your choice. So go online, find another advert for another fragrance. It's entirely up to you which one you decide to analyze. But I'd like you to analyze in the same detail, using the same sort of terminology as we have for this Miss Dior advert. What I'll do is I'll pop up the bits of terminology that I'd like you to consider as well. But as opposed to just saying that it has a bold text, for example, and it has a large depth of field, consider why that's useful. Consider why the producer has used that particular type of media language, and what does that say about the representation? What is the producer trying to present to the target audience? So the instructions one more time. This is going to be for the second lesson, so this is not the first lesson, but the second lesson of this week. I want you to choose your own fragrance advert, and I'd like you to analyze it in depth, in detail, pop it onto a blog post, make sure you have it safe, or take a picture of it if you want to do it on paper. Send it in to your teachers, or send a link to your blog to your teachers who can have a look at it to see that you're going along the right lines. Remember, this is just an introduction to advertising. The next few lessons will be looking in depth at our case studies. In the meantime, any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch. Good luck. Thanks.